So here's a question. Is filler a good thing? Now before we hop into that, I'm sure there's a bunch of people that are wondering, where's all the content? Where have you been for the past 2 months? Well, pneumonia. I've been in Pneumonia Town, living amongst the pneumonians. But I did manage to get a few videos out, albeit on a different channel, the Otaku Nexus, where I explain the plot synopsises of anime in a thing called Anime Explained. We're real clever over there. So if you want to check that out, I talk about The Boy and the Beast, Princess Mononoke, and Tokyo Godfathers. You can check the description down the doobly-doo, or you can wait till the end card where there will be, you know, the clickable annotation links. But back on topic. Is filler a good thing? No, but that doesn't make it a bad thing. Now when people talk about filler, they usually mean one of two things. Either an episode or an arc that detracts from the main plot, or things that pad out the main plot. Like, for example, somebody screaming for 72 episodes. So with that in mind, we're going to talk about two of the most well-known shows that probably also have some of the most filler, Naruto and Dragon Ball Z. Now while both of these shows have more than their fair share of bad filler, they both also have some pretty decent filler. Let's go ahead and talk about the bad first, because anger is my lifeblood. I eat anger and I shit hatred. When it comes to bad filler, Naruto takes the cake, and then eats that cake, and then shits that cake, and makes more cake out of the cake shit that it just ate and shat out, because that shit is some shit cake. The point is, there's a lot of bad filler in Naruto, and I don't think there's anything worse than the noodle episode. In this episode, Naruto and his friends are tasked with making noodles for chef ninjas. Because when I think of two things that go together, it's chefs and ninjas. Throughout the episode, they do things like punch noodles, and Rasengan noodles, and stretch noodles. Look at her! Look at that pasta puncher right there. Look at her go! This episode in particular has no bearing on the world or the characters. There's no real development. It's just noodles. That's all it is. Ninja chefs and noodles. It's just there to give you another episode until the end. That's it. And then we move on to Dragon Ball Z. Don't worry, Dragon Ball Z, I didn't forget about you. I'd never forget about you. In one episode in particular, Chi-Chi decides that Goku needs a driver's license, because apparently flying isn't enough for her. Oh, and Piccolo joins along too, because when I think of somebody driving a Miata around, it's that guy. The whole entire episode is focused around these two trying to get their driver's license and failing miserably. Which is maddening, because again, they can fly. Oh, and Goku has something called instant transmission. Why would he want manual transmission when he has instant transmission? So like I said, filler, generally speaking, not a good thing. But each show also has some filler that's kind of worth watching. For instance, there's a filler arc in Naruto right near the beginning, so you don't even have to go through all the bullshit, called Mizuki Strikes Back. This is great filler. For those who don't know who Mizuki is, you should, because he's kind of the catalyst of the entire show. See, at the very beginning of the series, Naruto's trying to be a ninja, but he fails his class and he can't become a ninja. Enter Mizuki. This guy comes in and convinces Naruto to steal an ancient scroll. When he does, Naruto reads that scroll and learns the power within. Now, Mizuki was doing this to appease his master, Orochimaru, who is the main villain for the entire series. Now, the special thing about this scroll is that it teaches Naruto a forbidden art called the Shadow Clone Jutsu, also known as that thing he always uses. Now, Mizuki tells Naruto to steal it under the guise that he'll become a ninja if he does, which technically is exactly what happens. But by the end of it, we discover that Mizuki's a bad guy, and Iruka-sensei, Naruto's teacher and basically first father figure, comes in and saves the day. And then Naruto, discovering that he's been had, decides to, you know, use his new power and go ahead and grab Mizuki and just take his brown to Pound Town. Just right to Pound Town. But after this, we never hear about Mizuki again, and that's really weird because Mizuki, again, is the catalyst of the entire show. Without Mizuki, Naruto would have never become a ninja. He would have never, ever learned the Shadow Clone Jutsu. He wouldn't have won most of his fights. And also, very important here, he would not have learned the Rasengan, or at least not as fast as he did. So without Mizuki, Naruto's two basic things that he uses constantly, his signature moves, would have never happened. And in this story arc, we find out what's happened to Mizuki after the first episode, where he's been, what he's been doing, and what his goal was. But more importantly, we find out his backstory, and that's not necessarily important because it's Mizuki's backstory. It's important because it ties in to Iruka Sensei's backstory. We learn more about the father figure of Naruto. And instead of Naruto being the one to come in and save the day and whip his ass, this fight is all Iruka Sensei's, and there's this beautiful moment where when Iruka Sensei in the very first episode sees that Naruto's in trouble, he comes in, takes a shuriken to the back, and saves him. In this arc, they flip it, and Naruto does that for him. It's beautiful, and it's incredibly well done, and it also fleshes out a character that we definitely needed to know more about, since again, he's the catalyst of the entire series. And back over at Dragon Ball Z, you have the Garlic Jr. saga. I know a lot of you are probably going to be thinking, I didn't like that saga, it took away from the androids and all the other stuff and blah 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 blah. I get it, I get why somebody wouldn't like the saga, but give me a chance to explain why I do. First off, Garlic Jr. is a villain from the very first Dragon Ball Z movie, The Dead Zone, and he's also the very first and only character in all of Dragon Ball Z to ever actually gain immortality specifically from the Dragon Balls. There are other characters who are close to being immortal or who gain eternal youth, but he's the only one who cannot be killed. So at the end of the Dead Zone movie, what happens? How does Goku win? Well, he traps him in the Dead Zone, which is basically just the Phantom Zone from Superman or whatever the hell they call. Garlic Jr. is Zod. He's Zod, Goku Superman. So with the Garlic Jr. saga, this happens right after Frieza and right before the androids. This happens at a moment when everybody thinks Goku is dead because Namek just exploded, and that is super important for this entire arc. Because what that allows this arc to do is for the B team to come in and save the day. Now, Goku can't save the day. He can't come in like he has in every single other arc and whip a bunch of ass until Vegeta or Piccolo kill somebody. No, Goku cannot show up, so the B team has to do something. Gohan and Piccolo, and I guess, you know, Krillin's there too, but, I mean. And I know some of you are thinking, Gohan and Piccolo aren't the B team. At this point, they're totally the B team. The only person who's the A team is Goku, and maybe Vegeta. Later on, Trunks and Gohan. Saiyans are the A team, everybody else is the B team. Gohan, in my opinion, isn't a Saiyan until he gets blonde hair. So the B team has to deal with this immortal villain who broke out of an endless prison and is now creating zombies around the entire world. He's turning the entire Earth's population into zombies for him, including some of the B team. The way that they work around it and the way that they defeat him without Goku ever showing up, without any help from the outside source, with just their power for the first time in all of Dragon Ball Z, is actually pretty amazing, and it gives development to characters who, in my opinion, sure, got some development throughout the series, but especially at this point, severely needed it. Each of these three really gets their moment to shine, and you even get some moments with Yamcha and all the others where they come in and they've been zombified. It's really cool, and Goku never shows up. It's actually really good development for all of these characters, and it brings back a villain who never got a proper wrap-up. A villain who very well could have come back at any moment in time, who was just wandering through space essentially in a prison forever. They brought him back and they gave us closure. Sure, he ends up back in the prison, but now we know that the B team can take him out, so we know that he's no issue. And that to me is what separates good filler and bad filler. Bad filler is shit that you have to get through. Good filler is stuff that you want to get through, something that develops the world, the characters, something that makes you remember why you love the show in the first place. Because the main storyline, the main plot line of most shows can get too heavy-handed, it can get too obscure, they can have all these ass-pull powers, but when you have good filler, it brings it back. It brings it back to the characters, to their personality, to the world, to why you loved it in the first place. That, to me, is good filler. It's things that you want to watch that expand the world that you already love, because, in all honesty, we want more of the things that we love. That's why we have Boruto, that's why we have Dragon Ball Super, because we loved these series, so they started bringing them back. They kept bringing them back because they sold, because we wanted more. So you can never have too much of a series as long as it remains that series. If they deviate and they start punching noodles and getting driver's licenses, well, that's just not the story you fell in love with. Anyways, guys, that's my opinion on filler. What's yours? What filler did I not mention that you really enjoyed? Whether it be from Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, whatever. Case closed. There's a ton in there. It's pretty much a show about filler. like the Seinfeld of anime. Whatever it is, let me know in the comments down below, and I might end up covering it in another video. Anyways, guys, that's my time. Make sure to stick around till the end for the annotations if you're interested in any of that stuff. If not, I totally get it. Next review is gonna be My Hero Academia Season 1. There was a kind of a spoiler at the end of the Akame thing. If you didn't see the Akame thing, that's gonna be the next one. Also, watch the Akame thing. Bye!
He's a loser, he's a loser. I got a new car, driving slow from the start.